I'm 35 years old, single, and just an ordinary company employee. No girlfriend, and certainly no plans for marriage. I have no desire to get married or high career aspirations. All I have is an appetite. While my colleagues are sprinting towards a bright future of getting married and advancing in their careers, I spend my days with no motivation. Even my colleagues in the same department never approach me for anything other than work. I handle my job competently, never arriving late or making mistakes. I don't aim for a perfect score, but I always maintain a passing grade. I never make an effort to communicate actively, so I've become a complete outsider. My only pleasure in my life is playing with my 3-year-old niece, Emma. I lost my father at an early age, and my mother passed away due to illness just a few years ago. Emma is the child of my sister, Rose, who's my only family. The moment Emma was born, I became a doting uncle. This weekend, I have plans to go to the zoo with Emma and Rose. I'm so excited that I can't help but feel jittery at work. While hiding my grinning face, I'm managing to get my work done until it's time to clock out. Suddenly, my phone rings. It's from an unknown number. Wondering who it could be, and I answer the phone. Surprisingly, it was from the police.
Sorry for the sudden call, this is the police. Are you related to Ms. Rose Wilson, specifically Mr. Jacob Wilson?
Yes. I found myself forgetting I was at the office and let out a loud yell. The officer on the phone told me that my sister and Emma had been in an accident and rushed to the hospital, and I was urgently requested to come to the hospital, and after giving me the hospital name and address, they hung up. I stood there, dazed and unable to grasp what was happening. But then, I felt my shoulder tapped by someone. Turning around, my immediate female boss stood there with a serious looking.
What happened?
I wanted to tell her that my sister and niece had been in an accident and were rushed to the hospital. But perhaps I was more shaken than I thought. I was at a loss for words and couldn't speak properly. I don't usually converse much with my female boss, which probably made me feel anxiety, and I ended up explaining with an unusually large amount of gesticulation.
Come down, I understood. Go to them now.
I thought I was maintaining my composure, but my heart was pounding so hard. Apologizing to my female boss and colleagues, I quickly gathered my things and rushed out of the office. Rose and Emma had been looking forward to going to the zoo. There's no way anything could go wrong. I repeated that to myself as I hurried to the hospital. But when I arrived, Rose was already gone. The driver, blinded by the setting sun, had missed a red light and hit Rose and Emma, who were crossing on the green light. Rose died instantly. It seemed that Emma was shielded by my sister at the last second, resulting in her getting away with just minor scratches. Overwhelmed by the shock of losing my only sibling, I found myself lost for words. However, there was no time to be swallowed by the sadness of my sister's death. There were so many things that needed to be done. I had to take it upon myself to contact relatives, arrange for my sister's funeral, and handle various other formalities.
Jacob, let's play.
I'm sorry, Emma. I've got some stuff to do. So after this, all right.
Okay.
Emma, still unable to understand her mother's death, was playing innocently. It was heartbreaking to see her like this. After the funeral, which was conducted without any issues, a family meeting was held to discuss the future. The topic of discussion was who will take care of Emma.
It's impossible for us.
We're already strapped for cash as it is.
As everyone hesitated and grappled with the idea of taking Heron, suddenly, all eyes were on me.
Jacob, you should take him in.
What? Caught off guard by the sudden proposal, my voice cracked. Sure, I'd played with Em a lot, but taking care of her is a completely different from playing. I wasn't even used to doing housework or cooking for myself, let alone raising a child. I didn't have an ounce of confidence in it.
Emma seems to like Jacob. I think it would be all right.
Yes, it would definitely be for the best.
Without even asking for my opinion, the conversation moved forward, and before I knew it, all the relatives had left. Without anyone to consult with, a new life began for me and Emma. I attempted to secure a spot in a daycare near my workplace during the morning period, but the lack of availability was disheartening. The daycare that Emma had been attending was too far from my house. Since I was going to be raising Emma, I needed to find a place within a reasonable distance from my home, but I was struggling to find a suitable daycare that I wasn't familiar with. And there was one more thing that was worrying me.
No,
Come on, Emma.
I absolutely refuse. I want to stay with you.
Emma, feeling vulnerable without her mother, had become extremely unstable. She couldn't bear to be separated from me even for a moment. Of course, it's understandable that she'd become emotionally unstable after suddenly losing her mother and being taken in by her unreliable uncle. But if this goes on like this, I wouldn't be able to go to work. In desperation, I called my female boss. I'm really sorry for the sudden request, but may I take a few days off? I've taken in my deceased sister's daughter and she just won't leave my side. Already having taken several days off for the funeral, I felt incredibly uncomfortable asking. However, my female boss replied,
Just come into the office. You can bring your niece along too.
I was truly sorry and apologized repeatedly over the phone. There must be a mountain of work waiting. Everyone must be working desperately to cover for me. The next day, I headed to the office with Emma. As I walked into the office with a nervous look, all eyes were instantly on me. I immediately apologized. I'm sorry for taking so many days off. As I bowed with Emma in my arms, the clacking of high heels drew nearer. It was undoubtedly my female boss. I was sure I was about to be scolded. As I timidly looked up, I was surprised to see my female boss with an extremely cheerful expression.
Welcome, what's your name? We've got some really yummy treats. Want to try some?
My name is Emma. I want to eat some treats, Tilda.
Emma, who had been clinging to me, quickly hopped down and started walking hand in hand with my female boss. That was the start of my colleagues crowding around Emma one after another. Seeing Emma, usually with a worried face, smiling like she was, filled me with relief. As my colleagues fussed over Emma, my female boss walked over to me.
You look as expected.
Huh? I didn't understand and asked her to repeat.
Your voice on the phone earlier, you sounded maxed out.
She said this and handed me a piece of paper. It was a parental leave request form. Seeing my surprised face, my female boss continued.
You must be having a tough time dealing with the procedures for daycare and adjusting to life with Emma. Take some parental leave and solidify your living situation for now.
Me, taking parental leave. It's true that our company has a parental leave system, but I never thought I'd be eligible.
Yes, and there's also this.
The next thing she handed me was a brochure for a daycare center. I remember that this is the one nearby here.
My daughter is in preschool, and she goes to this daycare. They're quite flexible, and they don't have too many events, so I highly recommend them. I'll check if they still have openings.
My female boss is a single mother. Even now, when her child suddenly falls ill, she often leaves work early. I remember her often taking time off when her child was in daycare and had a fever. As I thought about this, she gently patted my shoulder.
I really owe you one from those days.
Those days, I had no idea what she was talking about and tilted my head in confusion.
Don't you remember? Whenever my kid had a fever, you always covered my work.
Her words made the hazy memories at that time come flooding back. Back then, after returning from maternity leave, seeing her struggling with sudden calls from the daycare, I offered to help.
I thought you were so cool when you said, Please assign all your work to me when you have to leave early. I almost fell for you.
She said with a hearty laugh. I felt oddly embarrassed. I had just offered to help because she was in trouble. At that time, my sister was pregnant. The father of her child had disappeared upon hearing about the pregnancy, but my sister had decided to become a mother despite the opposition from our mother and relatives. No matter how severe her morning sickness was or how heavy her body felt, she was always working part-time at a supermarket register to earn money for childbirth. Seeing my female boss struggling reminded me of my sister, and I couldn't help but offer to help.
Now it's my turn to help you.
But I don't really need.
First, take your parental leave. That will give you plenty of time, and then you can slowly take care of everything.
Are you sure that's okay? I couldn't believe the situation and asked her.
Of course, it's okay. And if you're having a hard time, you should consult with me sooner. Do you think I'm an unreliable boss?
When I hastily denied it, she smiled contentedly. I haven't done anything worth such praise. Honestly, I just helped out. Being thanked every time made me feel awkward, and I would often respond dismissively. Yet, I was genuinely happy to know she felt like that. I've always been averse to attracting attention and always tried to remain unnoticed at work. I'm not good with people, and I struggle with conversation. For the first time, I realized that there's someone who appreciates me so much, despite my shortcomings.
Jacob, look. I got a lot of candies.
I was pulled out of my reverie by Emma's voice. With a joyful grin, Emma ran towards me with holding full of sweets. That smile? This is the real Emma's smile. During our time of mourning, her smiles always seemed tinged with worry. Seeing her smile, so genuine and carefree, my eyes welled up.
If you really want to work, I can assign you some tasks that you can do at home during your parental leave. But right now, you should give the first priority to Emma. That's an order from your boss.
Yes, thank you so much. I replied, bowing my head energetically. I successfully took parental leave and slowly enjoyed my time at the daycare, the paperwork, and my time with Emma. Emma seemed to like the laid-back atmosphere of the daycare where my boss's child went. As for me, I decided to work flexibly, sometimes going into the office and sometimes working from home, always prioritizing Emma, who could be a bit unstable. I owe all this to my female boss and my colleagues. I'm still not great at communication, but there have been some changes recently.
Hey, Jacob, what's for dinner at your place tonight?
I'm thinking about making some seasoned rice.
Wow, you're good at making such elaborate dishes.
What are you talking about? I just add some rice seasoning and turn on the rice cooker.
I'm relieved to hear that. I have one of non-meetings today, so I'll be leaving an hour earlier.
Got it. I have mine the day after tomorrow, so don't forget please, okay? Like this, my female boss and I have had many opportunities to talk about time-saving housework and cooking. Despite being my boss, we are both single parent, in a sense, comrades in arms. There's never a shortage of things to talk about when it comes to our kids. But that's not the only change.
Jacob, can you finish that work and still make it in time for pickup?
If I can't finish in time, I'll bring it home, so it's fine.
What do you mean it's fine? Give it to me. I'll do half.
My junior colleague snatched half of the files from my desk. I was taken aback for a moment, but I quickly opened my mouth. Thank you.
No problem.
My colleagues, who had seen me struggle to ask for help, started offering their assistance more frequently. It became commonplace for them to forcefully take work from me, even when I was clearly overwhelmed. I still find it incredibly awkward to express my gratitude. But when I say thank you, my colleagues always respond with a happy smile. I am able to do my work and live with Emma because of their support and help. It's all about mutual support. If it wasn't for this experience, I might have gone on without realizing such warmth of people. From now on, I want to give back what I received, protect Emma in place of my sister, and live on with determination.